Well, welcome everybody back to the Flying Dog House. We're going to take a look today at the Cessna 404 Titan. And we're going to do that in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So we'll roll through the some of the stats on the aircraft as usual. And then we'll switch over to Brunswich County and we'll do our walk around, and then we'll look at camera views, and we'll do a cold and dark start, and then we're going to have a slightly longer flight in terms of a shakedown flight. We're going to fly from Brunswick County back to New Bern and land at coastal Carolina. So this is a high performance aircraft, and I thought it might be interesting for folks to take a look at some of the scenery, and also just sort of experience the performance levels of the plane. So we'll talk about final thoughts at the end of the video. So with that, what would you want to know about the Cessna 404 Titan? Well, it's another American aircraft. It's a twin engine, built by Cessna. At the time of its manufacture, it was the largest twin piston engine developed by Cessna, and that development work took place in the 1970s. It's also a military variant, so a variety of different militaries around the world have used this aircraft, but it's designated in the U.S. military as the C-28. And it has a pretty unique V-tail configuration. Other than that, it's very similar in appearance to the Cessna 414. So the 404 was based on the Cessna 402 with an enlarged vertical tail and some other changes. Prototype flew on February 26, 1975. And there are quite a few different variants of the 404 Titan. So there are various passenger, configurable, and freight options available. And several of those are actually modeled in the sim as variants. So you can experience some of those as well. All right. What else would you want to know about the 404? Crew of 2, passenger capacities between 6 and 8 passengers depending on the config. Length 39 feet 6 1/4 inches. Wingspan 46 feet 8 inches. Height 13 feet 3 inches. Wing area 242 square feet with an aspect ratio of 9:1. Empty weight 4,816 pounds. Maximum takeoff weight 8,400 pounds. And fuel capacity 340 U.S. gallons, or 280 imperial gallons, or 1,300 liters. That was a mouthful. All right. Performance-wise, maximum speed 267 miles an hour, or 430 knots. Cruising speed 188 miles an hour, or 302 kilometers per hour. Stall speed 81. Range 2,120 miles. Service ceiling 26,000 feet. Healthy rate of climb at 1,575 feet per minute. Takeoff run to 50 feet. 2,367 feet. So there you go. So hopefully that gives you a feel for this is not like flying a Cessna 172. With the obvious difference that it's a twin. So a little bit more to do in terms of the startup sequence, but this particular aircraft startup sequence is relatively straightforward. So we'll walk through that as well. Just pay attention to where the switches are in the cockpit. Most of the stuff that you're going to need to get the aircraft started are either on the floorboard or to the pilot's left front on the left side. So anyway, straightforward getting it started. So we'll have a look at all that. And with that, we're going to switch over to Brunswick County and we'll do our walk around, and then we'll get the aircraft started. Okay, we're on the ground here in Brunswick County, and we're ready to do our pre-flight. So let's roll with that. And we'll go ahead and get the engine covers off. There we go. Pitot covers off the nose. Chocks removed. Yeah, just kind of get a perspective here of how big this plane is. So this is, again, as we mentioned in the first segment, this is the Cessna 404 Titan. And it's got good solid cruise speed, as you would expect for a twin. And it's quite fast, and it's a little slippery. But the get up close here and take a look at some of the textures. And it's rock solid for a built-in aircraft, I think. All right, so we got lots of vehicles driving around here early in the morning here at Brunswick County. All right, let's jump in the plane. All right, so what does that leave us with? Looks like those are free and clear. Rudder pedals don't look like they're doing anything funky. All right, all that looks solid. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the, if we do anything else, look at the built-in cameras. So, as per usual, shift 1. That's going to take us over to our master electrical and lights and our magnetos. So all that is located in this forward panel here to the, just to the immediate left of the pilot. Shift 2 will take us to the fuel switches here. And since we're here, we might as well. Shift 3 takes us to our avionics. Shift 4 to the main pedestal. Shift 5 down to the bottom of the pedestal. Shift 6 take us to our engine condition and oil pressure gauges here, fuel quantity. 7 takes us overhead to our panel lighting. 8 will put us off the left wing. 9 will put us forward. And shift 0 doesn't do anything in this plane. So there you go. So there's food for thought in terms of whether or not you need to do anything as far as your custom cameras are concerned. So what I thought we would do with this particular flight is we're going to depart Brunswick County and then just make our way up to New Bern instead of just doing a circuit. So we'll fly this one for a few minutes, and given an aircraft of this size and performance level just doing a simple circuit I thought would not be fair. So we'll fly up to New Bern. It's about a 25-30 minute flight from here in this particular bird, so that should prove to be a good flight length. Okay, so next up is to work through the startup process for this bird. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of. Okay, so we've gotten our pre-flight inspection out of the way. And we have our power condition levers in idle. Props max RPM. Mixture is to rich. And we can move this to the other side here. Okay, so shift 1 will get us over here with the batteries and all that other fun stuff. Alright, so we can cut the batteries and the alternators on. And our lights. Let's cut on landing, nav. Don't need that. Don't need taxi at the moment. Alright, so I think these are good. Alright, let's have a look around the aircraft here. So we've got crewmen off the right wing or the left wing here. And we'll let them know we're getting ready to start. Clear prop. And back to shift 1 here. And we'll get the magnetos turned on. That's good. Area clear. Auxiliary fuel pumps. Yep. They're now on. Alright, and then we need the starter switches. So there's a left and right. Right starter, left starter, primer if as needed. Okay, so let's push our engine 1 start switch here. Alright, I think we've got a good engine start. Shift spacebar. Yep, that looks good. And we'll do the same thing with the right. And then we'll check our gauges. And avionics master switch is on. We'll leave the pitot heat off for now. We don't want to cook that on the ground. And we can go back to the shift 3 or 4. No, 6. That's what we want. Let's move this out of the way too. Looks like we've got good oil PSI. That's good. RPMs look fine. Engine temperature gases look good. Alright, so if you haven't taken advantage of the built-in EFB and the checklist, definitely recommend you do that. Help you more accurately mimic the real world here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our avionics synchronized here. Let that get spun up. This aircraft also has radar. We're only going to turn it on the ground, but weather radar here does work at the Bendix system. ready to get clearance from Clarence. Jump outside here. All right, it's looking good. Okay, so save time. We're going to switch over to the end of our departure runway, and we will carry on from there. Okay, we're sitting at the end of the runway here in Brunswick County. We're at the end of runway 23. And we're going to make our way up to New Bern in the Cessna 404, as we discussed in the intro. All right, so I think we're ready to rock and roll here. The 404 and the 414 are very, very similar. All right, I think we're ready. Take the parking brake off. Jump outside the plane too. Have a peek with it sitting on the runway. Looks nice. All right, let's light this candle. And airspeed is good and alive here. And we're up. Positive rate. Gear coming up. Continue our climb out here. Jump outside the plane. All right. All right, we'll make our turn here. And this aircraft will gripe at you if you are below a certain RPM. And give you the gear warning. All right. Work our way over to the magenta line here. Got our heading bug dialed in. That looks good. Altitude set in here too. And I'll make our way over at about 3,000 feet, I guess. All right. Let that get good and settled in. A very nice looking bird. Pump up the jam here on the airspeed. Yeah, the more I use this built-in EFB and map, or the more I enjoy it. It's quite handy. And I think it's much better than what we had in 2020 as far as built-in map is concerned. Alright, we'll cross the Cape Fear River here and make our way slightly to the west of Wilmington and make our way up the Crystal Coast. And we can enjoy some of the scenery for a minute. And I just did another driver update. Well, I don't want to jinx myself, but we're now closing out on a week with no crash to desktop. And that's quite remarkable. And I'm pretty pleased with the settings I've been able to dial in for my graphics card and my CPU configuration, so I think this will play nicely. I think we'll make quick work of this route in this aircraft. And for our approach in today at Coastal Carolina, KEWN, Kilo Echo Whiskey November, winds are 280 at 2. So I think we'll do a left-hand circuit and we will land on runway 23. Or 22. Yeah, it's 22. 22, 23, whatever it takes. And this should be roughly about 45 minutes or so. And we should be in good shape. Alright, we are coming up on Wrightsville Beach. Another wonderful place to stay during the summertime. Beach here is gorgeous. There are lots of places to eat. Good fresh seafood. Alright. So, figure 8 and then topsail will be next. And this particular course heading and route will take us over the top of a Marine Corps outer landing field, Camp Davis. If you want to see some osprey flying around, that might be a good opportunity. And we will be to Oak Island before we know it. We're already a little less than a third of the way there, and we are chugging along nicely. Yeah, we've got our airspeed nicely in the green here, so no issues with that. Manifold pressures at the top of the green. Come back a little on our RPM. We had it operating in the yellow. Alright, that looks good. I think we're in good shape here. Mostly analog gauges here, which is also a nice touch. We could back out on the range of the map so that we're not looking at little pixelated squares. Here we go. We can see some of the airspace designators here. We'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. That looks good. Alright, jump outside here. And if you haven't flown this in 2024, I wholeheartedly recommend it. Perfect for a group flight that needs a little bit of get up and go. And our airspeed now is like 183. Ground speed is 191. And we're pretty much just following Highway 17 here. So this aircraft is very similar to the Cessna 402. One of the principal differences is the V-tail on the 404 Titan. And lots of different variants, and we do have several of those in the sim. Lots of operators for this plane. And I'll mention it again, this aircraft was manufactured from 1976 to 1982. And it had a military designation too, I think, of the C-28. Alright, so we're coming up on Camp Davis here. Again, as I mentioned, we are rolling along like a juggernaut. Well, I would guesstimate that we're a good halfway now. And as we did in the previous flight, we'll skirt the patrolled airspace around New River. Change our heading a bit, turn a little bit more to the northeast. Yeah, that'll get us clear. Yeah, really no surprises with this one. It's relatively straightforward. And away we go. And we're coming up on the New River here. And it empties out into the Atlantic. Turning ourselves just a smidge more toward the north here. I don't want to add too much extra distance to the flight plan today. And we can stare out the pilot window here for a couple of minutes. And once we're clear of the opposite bank of the New River, we'll turn even more to the northeast. And we'll be in good shape. And we would now be overflying Camp Lejeune. Yes, folks, it's Camp Lejeune, not Camp Lejeune. I'm not sure why people were on that jag. They definitely were. Continuing to make our way up the Crystal Coast. Okay, we can make our turn now. Get back over onto the magenta line here. And in a few minutes we'll come off of autopilot. Our altitude for our flight in is good and well managed, so that's not an issue. Not a lot of excess altitude to burn off today. And all of the things seem to be operating in good stead. We could go straight in on runway 04. Wind's 280 at 2. No change on that at the moment. I believe the ILS is 110.5 for Newbern. I'll verify that. Yep, it's 110.5. Go ahead and come off of autopilot. Aircraft is easy to get trimmed out. No hassling with that, really. There's some turbulence today, bouncing around a little bit. Slowing up a little more. Alright, that'll put us to the bottom of the green here. Get our flaps ready here in a couple miles. Airfield should be just off our nose, a little bit far out with the haze to make a clear delineation, but it should be right off our nose. Alright, we've made good time on this flight. And I thought we would do something a little bit more extended than just hopping from first flight over to Manio and in this particular bird. Thought that makes sense. There's our airfield. Alright, I can see over the nose now, so there we go. Alright, we're just inside the white arc. And if I had to guess, we're just to the end of the feathers here. And we're at about 2,900 feet. Yeah, we can go ahead and drop gear. Get ourselves configured here for landing so that we're not yutzing around with it at the last minute. And it'll just leave us to deal with the turbulence. Alright, so we'll go to first position of flap here. Come up on the RPM. Give ourselves a little bit more resistance. Help us burn off some of this airspeed. And we're high. See if I can side slip off some of this altitude. Alright, there's our outer marker warning. Alright, flaps 2 coming in. Close to the localizer, so that's good. Making our way down. Gear is down. Flaps are 35. Airspeed is still good. A little bit of bouncy Olympics going on here. Not terrible. We got plenty of runway, so we don't have to be in a hurry. And we're at 200. 150. 140. 130. 120. 100. 90. 80. 70, 60, 50, 40, and there we go. Get ourselves slowed up here. And make our turn over to parking. And there you have it, the Cessna 404. All right, if you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe. Love to have you as a channel member. Cessna 404, worth a fly? Absolutely. It's very well done. And it's built in. It's a built-in aircraft for 2024. All right. Put the parking brake on here. And we'll leave you here at coastal Carolina here in Newbern. Or hopefully you enjoyed the flight. We'll see you next time. Take care. Cheers, y'all.